So the two questions then, or three questions, are A, do we let them buy back? B, if we do we want to establish a time frame that someone must do that within a period of time? Because now I think I explained at the last meeting, the RPTL, that 2-year window that the state law provides, that it goes from a presumption for 2 years to a conclusion. So that's not. Now, by the way, in my legal judgment, if any of these people brought an action to redeem, they would fail because none of them have alleged lack of notice. Basically, they have no defense. They simply didn't pay the taxes, and they acknowledged that they received the petition. So the issue that that you were concerned about, are these people getting notice, is they are getting notice. The reality is, what scared them, I think, was when John Goodwin showed up at their door and he said, you don't own the property anymore; it's ours. They were impressed by that. So that's so now we have a plan. So the third question then is, if we do allow them, and you set a time frame, what's the administrative charge? And like I said, I think the 1% is a pretty good formula, because it needs to be a sufficient enough penalty and a disincentive to let this happen.
I don't know. I mean, I think you have to. I mean, I think you have to distinguish. So, what's 1% of $700,000?
$7,670. That's a pretty. And by the way, when I mentioned this to him, I mean, he was pretty upset. But I said, your option is then to sue us and take your chances in a courtroom. So, I mean, I think the reality is we are under no legal obligation to do it. But if we do it, we have to do it for everybody. So, I mean, just understand that we can't just say, I mean, if and they have contacted us in a fairly short order upon receiving the letter from Mr. Goodwin.
Yeah, I think it's not only a matter of having administrative fee, but we have to have some amount of the tax put in escrow for the future, at least 1% up front in escrow.
Well, we can't do that. We can't escrow taxes.
We can't escrow.
No.
All right. Well, because I mean, it's going to, like we said, it's just going to repeat itself.
Well, it's not, David, because you have the homes.
Maybe not.
No, I'm saying.
Well, no, we're going to give them back. We're going to convey them back.
So what if they? So they got to, but they're going to make full restitution.
Oh, no, yeah. The deal would be this. They have to pay in full every penny that we tell them.
Right.
At that point, you will sign a deed. I mean, I'll prepare resolutions for the board, and then they will authorize you to sign a deed conveying the property back to them. And that basically wipes the slate clean, and they're starting from scratch. But yes, up to that point, they have to be completely paid in full, plus administrative surcharge. I mean, there's no payment plans. We don't do payment plans. This is what they have to do. And these are significant numbers. There's another one today. Nick told me over $90,000 he owes. And I said to him, "You're going to pay it now?" He said, "Yes." What they do is they borrow the money. Quite frankly, they realize they have no choice. But
that's why. Well, look, I think there's a couple of points. Well, sorry, did anyone want to comment? The one thing is the reason we had, and thank you, Deputy Supervisor Villanova, for taking time and Muscle Goodwin go out there, was because we don't want these people to lose their home. Right? At the end of the day, it makes no sense for them to lose their home, and we don't. Pardon me, Bishop. Sorry. We don't want them to lose their home, and so basically, I would think that we want to come up with a policy now, but it can't be open-ended. It has to be definitive, and so I think saw the emails kicking around. I think the 1% fee I think is fair, and the people agree.
But I see no reason why we can't do it. I mean, there's no. I'm not saying someone couldn't sue us and challenge it, but I mean, that's up to them.
And then the second.
Well, actually, what we're doing is we're selling a house. So we're selling something that we own, so we could sell it for any price.
That's correct. I mean, I'm not saying that we would lose a challenge. I'm just saying that people can challenge anything today, and they do. But I don't think these particular people would do it because they're really at the mercy of the town. Yeah.
Why not have them sign a release?
We can have it. Yeah, we can do release or something like that. Sure.
And then the second only question is how much time we give them. We give them 45 days. We give them 60 days.
30. Max.
30 max.
Max.
I said 90.
So
I find it surprising that they haven't paid taxes for 2 years before you put a lien.
Right.
Right. Then another year before you go into foreclosure. Right. And then they've been noticed at least 3 times?
Since February. Well, they received letters that Nick and I send out over the years. I mean, we do that routinely.
Right. And they've been noticed legally.
They were served in February, and then they were additionally served with these people were not served again. They were served in February. There was publication. There was all the statutory.
I find it unconscionable that they can think that I haven't been properly noticed.
Well, they didn't say that. No one said that.
I know. So,
yet.
So I have to. Are they gaming the system in terms of not paying the taxes until they get challenged, or is it?
I can't. In the 3 cases that I've dealt with this week, there's no. It doesn't seem to be that these are people that are, difficult or malicious. I think one of them was a medical issue, and he was out of commission for a long time. As I said, this Mr. Wall was the one who had been paying his taxes and just, thought it was an error. He only owes $9,000. The third one, he started to tell me the story, and I didn't have time to hear because it was going on for like 25 minutes. It was a long, sad family story, and it was very compelling. So I don't think any of them are gaming the system. I do think they legitimately this wasn't a priority. And I think they didn't think the town would take the property. And I think the beauty of this is that people realize that we're very serious, that we are taking people's property, for the taxpayer, because this is the only way we can collect taxes, unfortunately, is to have this sort of Damocles hanging over their heads.
And then the point that you made earlier is we don't want them to think that, you go into a foreclosure process, they could automatically get their home back.
I don't want other people to think that.
Right.
Yes, because I have heard that from one person who had called me, and luckily for her, there was a mortgage and the bank paid it on Friday.
Right.
But she said, I talked to another guy who said, you have 2 years. And I think that's a misunderstanding of the 2-year statute. The 2 years is it's a legal term of art. It's a presumption versus a conclusion. Right. By no means does the statute say you can sue in 2 years and get it back. It's not what it says. It says you'd have to file a lawsuit, and you might, and you might not.
At the end of the day, I don't want to be in position to be taking people's homes if they legitimately want to pay their taxes and own it. So I would be in favor of making some arrangement like that, where they would pay, some sort of penalty to get their home back if they legitimately, feel that they weren't properly noticed, or et cetera. But I don't want to make that as a general policy for everyone, because I don't want everyone to start using that. So I would like to tighten the window. You said 90 days. I would make it a lot shorter than that for them to pay, as well as paying all the costs involved.
They've
had 4 years or whatever where they haven't paid taxes, so they have to show that they can pay.
Well, they've all contacted us within 30 days of getting what I'm going to call the Goodwin letter. Not 30 days of us taking title, but certainly as soon as they received that letter, I would say within a few days they were certainly on the phone.
The other thing I would like to add, and this goes to process, is that in the future, and I know we're in the process of reevaluating our In-Rem process, but we should have someone from the town board go and knock on the doors so we don't run into this situation in the future to say, hey, you haven't paid your taxes in a certain amount of time.
Well, at what point would we want to do that? Right now there are potentially hundreds of people who are late, right, for which Nick and I send out letters. You wouldn't have time to knock on all those doors. When we do the In-Rem, no, I'm serious.
After the In-Rem.
The In-Rem, let me say, we started at 79, and I'm not sure you volunteering to divide up the 79 and go knock on their doors either.
No.
It came down to...
how long does it take us to get the In-Rem? It took us a year to get the In-Rem.
Well, we filed in late February, and like I said, for the most part, they paid before June 15th, which is the date of redemption. So the biggest batch paid up to June 15th or filed bankruptcy. It's between June 15th and November 13th was the second batch, and now we're narrowing it down. So we're by the end of the year, we're going to have this down to 7 or 8 homes.
What happens when they file for bankruptcy?
It automatically stays the proceeding. We cannot get judgment against them. Most of them are filing what we call Chapter 13. We will get paid eventually, but they will have up to 5 years to pay us with interest. I'm not sure they have to pay the penalty, but with interest. So it buys them time to pay off their debts. It doesn't help them other than they don't get the judgment against them. But no creditor can get a judgment against them when they're in bankruptcy.
They file personal bankruptcy?
Yeah, all of them.
We have to wait 5 more years?
Up to 5 years. I think that under bankruptcy law they have up to 60 months to make payments on these plans. They basically come into a plan to pay off their creditors, and we are protected because we're the lien holder, and so we don't lose the lien or anything like that, but they don't lose their homes, and they have to pay off their debts over this period of time.